Welcome to Compass and Clock. I'm your host, Mary Copeland. This infotainment podcast explores how to live your best life now and well into retirement. We'll discuss topics in financial planning, housing, and insurance. We'll talk wellness, relationships, and leisure activities. A full active life requires planning for your goals and preparing for the unexpected. I'll introduce you to a variety of guests, from knowledgeable experts to folks sharing stories of their life experiences and so much more. Because life is big. All is intended to help guide you in planning for what you need now and at any age. Like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Today, my guest is David Newman. He is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon, clinical director of New York Sports Care, a TEDx speaker, and executive director of a nonprofit called Joint Education Outreach. David also founded and created a digital therapeutic company called PopDoc. PopDoc creates and designs corrective exercise therapy for populations wanting to exercise today. David, welcome to the show.
So great to be here, Mary. Thanks so much.
Yeah. And for some of you that follow along with us, David's back for part 2 of Aging Gracefully Physically. So, as you all know out there, we are all aging at the same rate, one day at a time. And David is going to focus today on aging gracefully physically for folks 30 and older. So, David, let's roll right into our podcast. And my first question to you is, aging is inevitable, but it's not just having another birthday. Can you talk a little bit about the aging process that takes place in our bodies?
Yes, certainly. I'm just happy to be here and to share things with you today, Mary, and for all listeners out there. You might be 30, you might be 40, you might be 50, you might be 70, but that's just a number. So everybody ages differently. But as we age, our ability to heal, our ability to recover after traumatic injury to your musculoskeletal system becomes harder. Um, you might remember or have children or grandchildren, and you see how flexible they are. They fall, they bounce, they get back up, and they can just, do a split, or they can touch their toes without a problem. That's the collagen or the soft tissue structures inside in their body that elongates easily and nicely. But as you age, these things become more rigid. So your elasticity slowly becomes less. It becomes more stiff. And if you have this thing called inflammation after a bruise or a cut or surgery or a broken bone, the inflammation lays down this scar tissue, which is not elastic,
Mm.
and it is not necessarily in line with or one with your fascia system or with that network and that meshwork of elastic fibers, the collagen in your body, around your muscles, around your joints, around your organs, whatever it might be. So as we age, we are going to become stiffer and we're not going to heal as quickly. However, there's ways to combat that from a lifestyle standpoint. But today we're going to really focus on the physical
David's having a little bit of an audio technical problem.
aging gracefully.
Okay.
So physically, it's about staying hydrated. I am? Yes.
Yes,
That's so interesting. Sorry about
I can
that.
hear you, and you can keep talking. Go ahead.
Um,
Why don't we roll into the second question, which is
okay. So
what is
so it
what is the
sure.
musculoskeletal system, also known as the MSK system, and why is it important? Form,
Yes.
structure, allows us to do things, etc. Give us that breakdown.
Certainly. So musculoskeletal, it's a big medical word. It
Mm.
combines muscles and skeleton. And within the skeleton, there are joints. So the skeleton is mainly bones. So that gives you form and creates your frame. And there's 206 bones in your body. And then there are joints, and that's the coming together of two or more bones to create motion. So there are some joints in your skull that don't move anymore after you reach maturity or stop growing, and they fuse together, but they are still joints that are now fused. So there's 360 joints in the human body. So there's a lot of them. And every one of them, whether it's the coming together of two or more bones to create motion, every one is therefore susceptible to injury or damage. And then there are muscles, and the muscles are the things that move you around in the world. And the muscles attached to the bones with a tendon. It's like a rope. The rope attaches the meaty structure to the joint. And there are 640 muscles in the body. So there's a ton of muscles, bones, and joints in the body. So as we age, it is certainly quite likely one of these joints is going to flare up and cause you pain or dysfunction or stiffness or swelling. And those are all components of inflammation. So the musculoskeletal system provides form and stability. It also allows you to stay active and do things in the world, whether you're a construction person, whether you're a gardener, whether you're a dancer, whether you're a cook or a chef, or just somebody who likes to play with their grandkids or kids. So we a lot of people take it for granted, your musculoskeletal system, and I'm encouraging all of you to not take it for granted, but actually care for it as you age.
Okay. So is there anything else in the body that can influence the health, so to speak, of our MSK system?
That's a great question, Mary. Thank you. Certainly. So our brain is our computer, and
Mhm.
we receive impulses and we give feedback or out. So there's input and output from our brain, and that's called the nerves. So the brain is where the central nervous system is. It runs down your spinal cord all the way down to your tailbone, and it shoots out little nerves that are like electrical wires that go to the tips of your fingers, top of your head, the bottom of your toes. And so these electrical wires help coordinate your brain with your musculoskeletal system. So at PopDoc, we have like combined these words to call it a neuromusculoskeletal system. So the neurological components of your muscles, bones, and joints helps you stay balanced, coordinated, agile, and just capable of picking up a glass or holding your phone and or doing things with your body. You basically tell your body to pick up a glass or pick up your phone and move it around in the world, and then your body listens to you. That's if you have a healthy system. So there's this soft tissue mesh that runs all around your muscles and around all the little muscles within your muscles and your joints, as well as the covering of your bones and your organs. That's called the fascia, Fascia, fascia system. That is where the neurological system meets the musculoskeletal system. So essentially, it's right there that the impulses from your brain or to your brain get start or end, and then they go to the muscles, and the muscles do the things to keep you mobile, active, and or capable of doing things in the world.
All right, so your brain sends the message and your muscles and joints perform based on what your brain is telling them to do. Um,
That's one side of it. But if you, for instance, put your finger on a stove, the muscles telling the brain move,
right.
get your
Yeah.
finger off the stove. So that's like
It
one
can
of
go
those.
in reverse then. True. Yeah.
That's right. It's a two-way system. It's a two-way street. So it's nice to have good flow both ways.
Does weight affect our MSK system too, though?
Certainly. So the muscles, when they're functioning nicely, they support your joints, which are the coming together of two or more bones. And they're very delicate, the joints, because they don't have a good ability to heal and to recover. If you cut part of the joint, like the meniscus or the labrum or the surface of the bone, which is the articular cartilage, it does not heal. So it doesn't have regenerative properties. So the more weight somebody has, the more forces across the joint, the more likelihood they can twist or impact or shear against each other and cause tearing. So the more weight someone has and or the less muscles or the not enough muscle strength to support the frame of somebody who's overweight, and if they do the wrong thing, that can cause this stretching, bruising, impaction, or tearing of some of the soft tissues in the joints. I'm not talking about bone fractures. I'm talking about like bruises to the surface of the bone at the joint level,
Mhm.
or the meniscus tears and it has a lot of nerves in it, or the lining of the joint rips or tears or gets stretched out. And then this thing called inflammation comes about, and that's pain, stiffness, warmth, and redness, meaning you have like a bruise type of thing. So those things make people, become less active, feel pain, and maybe they don't know how to recover nicely. So if they say, "Oh, I don't want to move my wrist because it hurts and I fell on it," that's maybe not right. Because
Right.
maybe if you don't move your wrist, it becomes all scarred in. It becomes thick and scarred and very stiff. So moving it at the right time is quite important. And so that's some guidance from your medical provider or your physical therapist to help you, the individual who's trying to overcome an injury, to rely on the professionals and then listen to them and do those things that make you hopefully heal nicely.
Well, that leads us right into the next part then, David. Um, we already did an Aging Gracefully Physically Part 1 podcast. And in that one, I asked you what are the three most important physical aspects of aging gracefully. So I think it would be beneficial to all of us right now if you can review what those were with us again, please.
Certainly. So I'm a huge proponent of the three components of aging gracefully physically include flexibility or your ability to move your joints either on your own or through this thing called stretching. And then balance, meaning how well can you support yourself when you're going down the stairs, when you're doing some tasks around your home, when you're even walking, or even if you get up in the middle of the night, your balance has to be there. And the last one, which is I think is the most important, is strength. So to achieve strength, you have to do something more than just walk.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, walking is very good for you as a person, for your bone strength, but not your muscle strength. And walking is also good for your heart and your lungs, of course, but so is strengthening. But the only way to strengthen is through resistive exercise. That means something has to resist you. Could be your own body with one hand pushing against the other in front of you or out to the side, or your legs squeezing in against each other. That's a resistance type of thing. But progressive resistance exercises will help grow your muscles, even if you're 80, will help grow your muscles and give you that strength and give you that safety of your joints, protect your joints as they age and as you age.
Okay, I totally get that. So, as you and I previously discussed for this podcast, we are going to take advantage of your knowledge and expertise, and we're going to ask you to show us some of these types of exercises um, folks can do, our listeners, our viewers, for flexibility, strength, and balance.
That's
So,
great.
would you be willing to demonstrate, please?
Of course. Thank you. And so at PopDoc, we're in like a version 2 mode where we are creating and designing a progressive program. And today I wanted to share with you level 1. So there's really level 5, which 5 is just maintenance, meaning once you achieve your goals of getting through all the levels, there is a maintenance program that you can do before you cook, before you play with your kids, before you play pickleball, before you play golf, before you go swimming. It's just like a 5-minute warm up type of thing. So it's not a workout and it's not physical therapy, but it's something right in the middle. It's corrective exercise therapy. So level 1 is relatively simple for some people, and other people, it's a great place to start. But and it can all be done in your own home. What you need is some good sneakers, a floor from like 3 feet by 10 feet or so, or 3 feet by 8 feet, that doesn't have any slippery surfaces or creases or bumps in it, whether it's carpeted or hardwood or tile or whatever it might be, as long as it's smooth but not slippery. And then you need a chair. Chair's, 2 chairs for those who are not as confident. One chair doesn't have to have handrails on it or armrests, but it needs to be non-mobile and sturdy so it doesn't fall over, because during the exercises, sometimes we're sitting in the middle, sometimes we're standing behind it, and sometimes we're sitting towards the front. So if it's a very weak chair, it might want to fall over, and you certainly don't want to do that. So without further ado, I want to get going on these things. So there's 12, and my design team includes a physical therapist and an athletic trainer, and I'm an orthopedic surgeon. So we come together nicely as a science team, and we've spent a lot of time thinking about the right ones to do at the right time, and hopefully, you guys can see them and understand them, and want to learn more about them. So I'm going to back up from the computer that we're on now, and I'm going to bring a chair. And I don't have it memorized, but I do have it in front of me. So I'm
I'll
going to go
talk you
back.
through it. Yep. Yeah, and
Thank
we
you.
less than 10 minutes to do the exercises.
Awesome.
So
So
we're going to
what
start
I'm
with
going to do is,
flexibility.
yeah, we're going to do a little bit of everything at once. So I know my chair's got armrests. It doesn't have to be that way.
Okay.
So Mary, just make sure that you can see my feet. Can you?
Yep. This is the perfect setup. Thank you, David.
Okay, good. So the first one's called knee bends. And I like to use a sturdy chair when you're holding on, at least at first, and your legs or feet facing straight ahead, about shoulder width apart. You're holding onto the chair and keeping your back straight, and doing these things in the right posture and the right technique will help diminish your feeling of pain and help get you the most out of these exercises. So knee bends are essentially, you look straight ahead and you're just slowly bending your knees and then coming back up. So you do it in a controlled fashion where you come all the way up and then back down.
And how many repetitions do you recommend?
So you can start at 5, depending on how strong and confident you are, and you can go up to 10 or 15. And then once you're done with the knee bends, we're going to bring the chair a little bit straight ahead, or you can just, if you're home, you just sit in the chair. So number 2 is called reach left and right. So you're sitting the back of your chair. These aren't here, so you don't need armrest. Starting with your hands on your lap, your feet are facing straight ahead, about hip width or shoulder width apart, and you just, like the name says, reach left and right. You are simply reaching to the left and then back down, and then the other one. So your low back and your whole spine is pretty much straight up and down, and you're only turning from your waist as you reach your arm up to parallel to the floor and you push it forward across your body. So you're moving like a washing machine agitator, one up to the right and then back down to your thigh as the other one comes up. So you're twisting from your waist and your torso. So your torso is moving through and you're reaching pretty far in front of you, but also across your body. So this is stimulating your fascia system, which crosses the plane of the center. And you're also using more than one joint. So it's not just a simple exercise, it's something that you do to help warm your whole torso up and your shoulders a little bit. So number 3 is called hamstring reach. And I'm going to back my chair up a little bit. Can you see my feet almost?
Yes.
Okay. Hamstring reach is when you're sitting more towards the front of the chair, straight up again. Your back is not curving forward or twisting. Your legs are straight out in front of you with your feet on the floor or your toes pointing to the ceiling. You take 2 hands, you slide them down your thigh as you keep your upper and your lower back straight. So you're not bending forward like this, but rather you're staying straight forward and you're just bending from your waist. So that's your hamstring reach. The hamstring are the muscles behind your upper leg. And those are quite important for most things. So you reach as far as you can, hold it for about 5 seconds, and then come back up. And then you do that with the other side.
Right.
You
So
can
you have one hand on top of the other hand, so both hands are together, and you are
That's right. So
down
if
your
I'm
thigh
stretching,
towards your knee with your head up.
if I'm stretching the right one, I'm going to have my right hand first on my thigh, my left on top of the right, and then stretching down. I'm kind of keeping my neck over my upper back. My back is straight, and I'm just bending at my hip till I can't anymore. And then I'm slowly coming back to the beginning. Left hand on left thigh, right hand on top of left hand, and you just slide down the other leg.
Great.
So you can do 2, 4 each, 7 each, 10 each, whatever it is. You can get more as time goes on. And that's number 3. So number 4 is called angel wings. And angel wings, so these next three are like kind of like jumping jacks, but on a seat. And we're going to start first with angel wings. So you're sitting towards the front of the chair, and you're just bringing your arms up. And I'm this close to the wall. So what I'm going to do is just turn my computer a little bit. So I'm more, so my feet are, sitting on the chair, my feet are hip width apart, facing straight ahead, my knees are bent to 90, and my hands just come up like an angel and then back down. So you're keeping your elbows basically straight, your hands with your palms facing in front of you, and you pretend you're on a glass door and you're wiping that door. So from down to your side, all the way above your head, while you're looking ahead, and your neck is on top of your spine, which is straight forward. So you're not curving and twisting, but you're just staying straight, and you're coming up in a controlled fashion and then back down. This warms up your shoulders, opens up your chest, and brings your whole abdomen up, or your rib cage.
And for this exercise, for this movement, you're towards the front of your chair. Your back is not against the chair. I just want to make
right. So you're standing up on your own, and that's only because part 2 and part 3 are going to be your lower extremities and then them together. So you sit in the same spot where you're going to sit. So the next one, if you can see can you see my feet? Kind
of. Yes, I could see your ankles.
All right, good. So these are called tap outs. So you're holding your chair with your hands right outside of your hips for support, and you're tapping your feet outward and back in. So your feet are always staying straight ahead, and they're landing on the ground completely, the floor. So you're bringing them out. They don't have to come out too far, but they come out just kind of like a jumping jack, if you remember that. So once again, you're tapping in a controlled fashion while sitting upright, face looking straight ahead, because that's better technique for you. And you're just moving your hips and then your legs out to the side 5 to 10 times. Okay. The next one is when we combine them both, and essentially you're bringing your legs out and your hands are above, and then you bring them back down to the floor.
So you literally look like you're doing a sitting down jumping jack.
That's exactly what it's supposed to look like, Mary. So your spine is erect, sitting up straight, face looking straight ahead. So your neck is over your shoulders, and you're doing the hand wiping with your palms facing forward as you're bringing your legs out. So essentially, you start with your hands at your side and your legs together, and you spread, and at the furthest hands above your head, your feet are out to the side, like a jumping jack. Yep. So we'll eventually do jumping jacks in level 3 or 4. 3, we do small ones. 4, we do big ones. But we'll get there in time. We first want to help build confidence in the exerciser and give them that strength that they need to be able to just jump around again. So you do these 5 to 15 times, depending on how you feel. Start with 5, of course. And I believe that, we'll get to that at the end, but what do you do outside of the exercise to really get the most out of the exercise? Okay. So that was angel wings, then tap outs, and then we did chair jacks, is what they were called. And number 7 is going to be
a single. How many exercises do we have in total, David?
12 for each level.
Okay. So, well, we've got about 4-5 minutes tops left for our podcast today. So
yeah, that's perfect.
Just on the ones that are most beneficial.
Well, I'm going to buzz through them then. Okay. So the single leg stance, you're standing to the left of a chair, holding it with your right hand.
The back of the chair.
The back of the chair, correct. So once again, you're standing up straight, you're looking straight ahead. You're just picking up your right foot a tiny bit in front of you, and then you're balancing on it. So you're using the chair only as a guide and only as needed. And you start with 10 seconds on each leg, and you can go up to 30 seconds on each leg. And once you're done, you just bring it down, and you either walk to the other side of the chair, or you can do it at the same one, but you just put your weight on the opposite leg. So that's single leg stance. Okay. So then we're going to do some leg lifts, 3 types of leg lifts. side, rear, and front. So the side one, same position that you started with, hand on the back of the chair for stability, and you unweight one leg, the one further away from the chair, and you push it out to the side. Remember, you're standing up straight, you're not curving your back, you're looking straight ahead, you're only moving from your hip. And you do this in a controlled fashion 5 to 15 times, depending on how you feel. That's to one side, then you turn around, then you do it the other way. Once again, only moving from your hips, standing up straight, head over your shoulders, looking straight ahead. That was the side. The rear.
Did you call that a side leg lift?
Side leg lift, rear leg lift, only moving through your hip, standing up straight, head over your shoulders, looking straight ahead, holding onto the back of the chair. Pick up one leg and just push it behind you, keeping your knee straight and your ankle pretty much rigid. You're only moving from your hip. And you do this 5 to 15 times. First at 5, once you do it a few times, you can increase. That's the rear leg lift. And of course, you do the other leg the same way. So motion is only through the hips. The last one, in this at least, is front leg lifts. So you're holding onto the chair like we did to the rear leg lift. And this time you're just moving forward. So standing up straight, head over shoulders, looking straight ahead, support on the chair for your balance, and you're just moving through your hip, doing anywhere from 5 to 15 of them. So it's a controlled fashion. You get as far up as you can, and you come back to the starting position. Front leg lift.
Perfect.
We're getting there. So 11 and 12 are the harder ones on this, and that's this thing called a lunge. So when you're doing a lunge, that means you're lunging forward. It helps you with your balance and to protect you in case you're about to fall. So a lunge is essentially your feet are around hip width apart, well, let's say shoulder width apart, looking straight ahead, back straight, head over neck. You're picking up your right leg a little bit, and you're planting it like you're walking over a small puddle, and you're holding it there for a few seconds. If you have to put your hands out to the side a little bit for balance, you can. You hold it there for 3 seconds, and you bring the left one up to the starting and stand erect. And then you pick up the left one and go forward the same way. Count of 3 or so, and then you bring the right one forward. So this is why you need the 8 or 10 feet of space. So you do it 2 repetitions like that. You turn around and you do 2 repetitions back. So that's called the lunge and hold, meaning you're lunging and then you're holding it there in that lunge position, and your back leg stays straight. Your front leg is the thing that moves and your leg bends as your weight moves forward, but your back does not curve or twist. Your back stays straight, and all the weight's coming through your thigh.
And visually, what it looks like is that you were taking a step forward. So
stepping over a puddle, keeping your knee just over your foot. I mean, you don't want to be way behind like this, and you don't want to be way over it either, else you could put too much pressure on your knee. So it's got to be.
Let's squeeze in the last one real quick.
Yeah, so the last one is called the lunge and catch. So it's just the same type of lunge, but you're starting with a bigger step, your thighs raising on your right side, and a bigger step forward.
Okay.
And then instead of holding it there, you just bring the left one up. And then you do the other one up. You turn around, you bring it up, come down, and bring it forward. Then you use the left one and come forward. So that's the lunge and catch. So essentially you're catching yourself because it's a bigger puddle and you're trying to almost crush a bug and maintaining your balance and then coming right up to the starting position. So that's level 1 of our Exercise Again program for people with chronic knee pain.
David, I do appreciate you coming back to do a little show and tell with us so that we can all take control and work on our own aging gracefully. Until next week, everybody, take care, and we'll see you soon.
Great to be here.